Welcome back. It is 1603. In the last one, we did lose Luke. He was killed by Marie, and we also lost Noah somewhere around here. So Isabella and Sophronia are now on their own. Very scary. And so this year, actually, the Queen is passing away, and King James is coming into the picture. For birthdays, we have Odalina Dubois. She can't get a 7, 14, or a 19. That was a little close. We have Aurella Stroud, no 2, 4, or 6. Good, good, good. We have Joya Waldrick and East May Hobart. Our teenagers can't get 7 or 13. No 7 or 13. Will they get married? No 1 through 5. No 1 through 5. Will they have babies? 4 and 3. Okay, so 4 and 3. 4 and 3. Joya Waldrick is a 4, and then Ismay Hobart is a 3. Okay. Beatrice Hobart can't get a 3 or an 18. And then Eustace Hobart has to get at least an 8. Okay. No deaths this year. That's probably for the best after last year. Last year was so much, but it's okay. We're doing a little bit of a reset. We're having a good time. It'll be fun. So I hope you guys are excited, because I am. Let's go into the game. Alrighty, so here we are in our household, which is very small again. Back to the old days of having, only a couple Sims in our house, but it's a lovely house, and it's big, and we have little Isabella learning the piano, so I think she's going to do her best to have a good life. Now, of course, Sophronia is having a tough time. Like, it's not like things are just easy. If they don't have as much money, because she's just on like a widow's whatever, like when the Lord dies, then the widow does get a sum like out of the estate, but it's not like it's going to be like a crazy amount. And she still has a daughter that she needs to put through, society and get her married and have a dowry and everything. So there is a lot going on there that she needs to think about. She's suddenly, without any backing and without any support. So she's got to think about that. So she is going to continue to try and attend events and go to parties. And of course, the big one is that this year, the Queen is passing away and we're getting a new king. So they would obviously be having some sort of coronation. I'm not going to make the king because we're going to be leaving so soon. So, but, just imagine that he's out there somewhere. But yes, the Queen has passed away and the king has assumed the throne. And everyone is having a big party for the coronation, and Sophronia is trying to, have societal connections. Obviously, her reputation is not great because she's a divorced woman. She was accused of being a thief, though I don't think that Luke would have told anybody that, but I feel like Marie probably would have told people that. And, she doesn't have much going on for her. So it's not like everyone's dying to talk to her. But Humphrey, who, she does know from when, like back when Luke actually, was living in the house with Humphrey and he was there and the family all kind of rallied around him and was close to him. So he is still very grateful for them having taken him in and everything. And even now that he's like fully assumed his title and is married and having kids, like he's still, very friendly and close to the family. So that's really good for Sophronia because she doesn't, have a lot of supporters. So it's good to have someone like a Marquis who is, willing to kind of be friendly to her so that other people are not so outwardly unfriendly to her, if that makes sense. So, we are going to have her just chatting with some people. I think she is really thinking. Now, she never tried to remarry, and the reason for that is because she wanted to be a part of her daughter's life. She didn't want to start over. But now that she doesn't have Luke backing her or paying for things for her, that she is realizing that, how is she going to get her daughter all the stuff she needs to enter society? Is she going to have enough for a dowry? What's she going to do after that? And she's kind of realizing that they need some man to back them. And she's thinking about remarrying only for Isabella, but I mean, she would probably be expected to at least try to have more children. She is still young enough to have a couple, though she isn't very, probably not very fertile at this point. But, she's doing her best to try and meet some people. And unfortunately for her, not a lot of people want to talk with her. Not a lot of people want to hang out with her. And one of the people who does offer to dance with her is Jose. Is it Verduzco? But anyway, he is kind of a known slime ball. So she accepts the dance and everything because she can't really afford to be turning people down. But she's still kind of like, eh, like it's awkward for her, and she doesn't really like him, but if he's the only guy who's going to show her attention, maybe she's going to have to like him, so she's just trying to deal with that, and I'm going to send them to bed. I was working on their needs a little bit. It's not really like me, but I figured with so few Sims in the house that we'll have time to do stuff like that. So that is why we're doing that there, just working on their needs a little bit. And we are going to have the butler make something to eat, although she doesn't really help us very well. I did not even notice. I was like, make us something to eat. And she made like a wedding cake. Like, what? I said make a family meal. Don't make a wedding cake. And then I thought that the meal initially was these garlic noodles, but then she went and ate them herself. And then I'm like, wait a second, really? A cake? But anyway, the Dubois family is having another baby, and it's a boy, and he survived. So finally, Humphrey has an heir. So we now have our first male heir to Humphrey Dubois. He's obviously going to be Humphrey the Third. So the Humphrey name lives on, and the Dubois family is I hope they're going to thrive. Like, I hope they're going to come back and really thrive. So I'm excited about that. I really hope that they do. So that's what's going on there. And then we're just going to update all of the stuff for them, and then we're going to have breakfast. I don't know if you can hear the dog playing with a bone in the background, but she is. But anyway, oh, and I wanted to tell you guys, so I was never a big fan of Downton Abbey. I was never really that into it, but I was like, oh, maybe I should give it another chance. Like, I'd only watched a couple episodes before, and I didn't really get into it. So I was like, I'll give it another chance. Now I'm on season 2 anyway. So if you guys watch that, let me know. I think that could be fun. But anyway, it's just something that I've started watching now because I wanted to rewatch Bridgerton, but not rewatch Bridgerton, so I need to find some period TV shows. But anyway, moving on, Jose has invited Sophronia out on a date, and so he invites her out, and she goes out to meet him, and he stands her up. Yeah. I don't know what happened exactly. I don't know if the date glitched or what, but like suddenly it just disappeared, and he's not here, and she's all here by herself, and so she's like, well, I guess I'll order some wine. So she is all here by herself. She's looking around. She's seeing all these other couples. We can see Gwen and Magdalena over there off by themselves. She's so sad. She's sad. She's bored. She's just like not doing well. She feels like a laughing stock because he invited her out and then stood her up. And she was really hoping that at least someone would take an interest in her so that she could, provide for her daughter. So she is worried about that. But, what's she going to do? She's got to keep trudging along, and she's got to keep moving forward. And she's just going to come home and pretend like nothing happened. I really did think he was going to show up, but then he didn't. Anyway, with little Isabella, with the kids situation, it's kind of similar. So it's similar in the fact that, she is friendly with some of the kids that she's related to, but the other kids are like not super interested in her. But luckily for her, she does have, her and William are literally, their relationship bar was all the way up. So I was like, okay, well, let's make them besties. So basically, I just feel like William, because they lived together and they were close together and whatever, like him being friendly with her and being friends with her and wanting to include her and stuff kind of makes the other kids kind of include her and stuff as well. But like, she's not like the top pick for being friends with, I'm sure all those kids have had their parents be like, become friends with the Duke, So, unfortunately, Isabella doesn't have the same level of people vying for her attention. Sophronia is about to have a midlife crisis, which I do not blame her for. She is suddenly in a very different scenario than she thought that she would be, and she's, honestly, it's kind of scary. So that's just something that they're both struggling with, is that, they're kind of social pariahs, but luckily they have a few good friends that are willing to kind of pave the way for them. Meanwhile, Marie is having a bit of a hard time. So Marie is having kind of a hard time because Aeneas is constantly hounding her about their deal because she got what she wanted. Her son's an earl, her other son's a duke. She got what she wanted, and he's like, okay, time to pay the piper, right? Like, I did these things for you, and I really helped you out. And she's like, ugh, like, in the end, I had to do a lot myself, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, I want us to get married so that I have access to everything too. Like, it's not just you. I want access too. And I want us to try and have kids. And I want, he's like, I want. And Marie's just like, ugh, I didn't think I was actually going to have to deal with you after this was over. So she's basically like, I don't know about that. And he's like, well, don't forget that I can expose you and I can expose your children and I can expose everything about you because I know all your secrets. And so Marie's like, fine, fine, fine. Let's talk about this. Let's figure things out. So she's basically like trying to talk to him about it, and he will not take no for an answer. He's like, we have to get married. We have to get married. And she's just like, well, okay, like if we got married, and she's already like figuring out ways to not have to deal with him anymore. And she's like, well, we could get married and we could deal with that and be together and both share in the benefits of having two titled children. But, she says to him like, oh, I'd want like this grand wedding, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, we don't need to do anything crazy. And she's like, well, I want to show off our money and we should have people over the house all the time. And he's like, well, you're right. Because, he wants to show off. He wants to be rich and everything. And so basically she's like, well, if we're going to be married, so she asks him to come upstairs and woohoo, which we can't do because there's a bassinet in the way, but we will do that right now. And Marie is basically going to woohoo him to death to get rid of him. And so it's so funny, but it's so annoying because there's only like one room in this whole house on the upstairs, and all the kids keep coming up here and trying to use the bed and trying to get in the way. And so I'm having trouble getting them to woohoo because there's children everywhere, and it's super frustrating. So I was like, okay, you know what? We need to go to another lot. We need to go somewhere where there's a bed and whatever, and we can just do this, and I can get her to kill him this way. To woohoo him to death. So I send them up here, and they woohoo, and they woohoo, and they woohoo, and nothing is happening. Like, he's not dying. So eventually I get tired of trying to do that because I'm like, seriously, come on. And so I do use MCCC to have him. But the truth is, he died from the woohooing. That's what happened. Marie basically overexerted him. She knew what she was doing. She knew he was old and on the verge of a heart attack. So she pushed him over the edge there so she could get rid of him and she didn't have to deal with him. And you know what? It's for the best that he died here because then she could have some deniability. Because she's just hanging out here at the bar. It has nothing to do with her. It's not like he's in her house and he dropped dead and she had to get rid of the body. So, she did that, and I actually checked. I was really surprised. She did not get pregnant. I was so sure after that many woohoos that she would have gotten pregnant, but I guess not. So she did not get pregnant, so there's not going to be any issues regarding that. So I guess that's one embarrassment she won't have to suffer. But meanwhile, we're going to start working on some birthday stuff. So I know this is a little bit of a shorter video, but we have a small household and we have a little less to do. I kind of wanted to drag out some of the stuff that's going on, especially until we have Isabella becoming a teenager. So we're just having a couple things going on. I forget, actually, did I already mention, so I did that poll. I think actually I've already released a video since that poll, but I did a poll for what days would be good for 2 days a week. I do still plan on doing my best to have like a Saturday video and stuff, but my only promise to you guys is going to be a Monday and Wednesday video because I just don't have time anymore. I'm really only able to record videos like every other week, which means I don't really have time to do 8 videos in a week for the 2 weeks that it's going to be for, which is such a bummer, but hopefully, in the future that changes. But for right now, this is the schedule we're going to go with. I really appreciate your understanding. It's not what I wanted, and I know it's not what you wanted, but it's just the way life goes. I got to work my full-time job. I can't dedicate all my time to The Sims, unfortunately. But anyway, Birthdays. Odalina Dubois is becoming a toddler. Orella Stroud is becoming a child. Joya Waldrick is becoming a teenager. Ace May Hobart is becoming a teenager. Beatrice Hobart is becoming a young adult. The Queen has passed away, and so has Aeneas Andreadis. And then Humphrey Dubois II was born and became an infant. So that is what's going on there. And next year, if I look at our little handy dandy thing here, we have Humphrey the third having a birthday. Yeah, nobody in our immediate family. I don't even think. Yeah, Isabella's birthday isn't until 1607 anyway, so we do still have some time before that. But I am going to focus on, right now, we're going to focus on Sophronia and her efforts to kind of find a husband, like a new husband, and someone who could help her raise her daughter and help her daughter kind of achieve a good enough social standing to get a good husband, So that is something that they're going to focus on. And that'll be that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this part. I mean, honestly, look at how gorgeous Joya is. Seriously. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this part. And I will catch you in the next one.